Please welcome to the stage the fantastic Lee. Woohoo! Yeah!
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Lee. I'm here in Brisbane, Australia, and a few things to know about me is I'm an environmentalist, I'm a keyboard warrior, and as of July last year, I am a 30-year-old woman. Thank you, I am. Now, one of my favourite things about becoming a 30-year-old woman is that I get to start sentences with "as a 30-year-old woman." It's been great, honestly. When you start a sentence with "as a 30-year-old woman," people just they don't listen, right? Like when I said that, you're all like, hang on. She sounds thoroughly fed up and ready to tell it like it is. And, you know, I think that's important. People just think, oh, she's coming from a place of experience, but not much experience, because we don't listen to middle-aged women after all. But a bit of experience, because no one wants to listen to young women, and you know, we don't even need to mention old women. Yeah, I reckon 30 years old is the sweet spot.
No! Quiet.
See, PY was right about John's on Zoom. They always bring their pet.
Wasn't me.
Oh, wasn't you? So I can say things like, as a 30-year-old woman, I find it highly offensive that a dog just interrupted my first comedy. Or I can say, as a 30-year-old woman, I am sick to death of sexism. Or as a 30-year-old woman, I like my tea with a ginger nut biscuit. And it just sounds more profound, I think. But for some reason, as a 20-year-old woman, never sounded that profound. It didn't have the same gravitas. I still had the same views on sexism and ginger nut bickies, but people didn't really give a shit about what I had to say. But as a 30-year-old woman, they do. So I think it's actually quite good in a way that 20-year-old women's views don't have that much gravitas. I mean, I'm not actually, you know, disparaging anyone who's 20 who might be here tonight. I'm sure your views are fine and good. This is more of a comment on the type of 20-year-old woman that I used to be. You know, I was really just had a lot of views that I don't hold anymore. But I did have a lot of good ideas too. To be fair to 20-year-old me, I had some good ones, like my stance on ginger nut bickies and sexism, tick. I also was studying drama and science together, which no one really knew would pay off, but clearly 20-year-old me had faith. And another great 20-year-old me idea was to dump that boyfriend at the time.
Woo!
Let's call him Loserface. Yeah, you know, Loserface had to go. So good on 20-year-old me. The rest of my views and opinions and ideas, put them straight in the bin. Not that bin though. No, they should not be recycled. I can tell you now. That's my environmentalist side coming out. You know, I love being an environmentalist. I think people often think of environmentalism as something really negative. They think we are the people who like to ruin everything you love, you know, like coffee pods or fast fashion or I don't know, plundering the earth and cackling evilly. Or, you know, whatever it is you non-environmentalists are into. No judgment. But I mean, we do enjoy ruining those things, to be clear. That's one of the best parts. But there are also more positive sides of environmentalism. Like, to me, being an environmentalist means that I care very much about the connection between humans and the planet, about how the planet is impacted by me and other humans, and how that in turn impacts us and our health and well-being. And I try to act in accordance with my environmentalist views in my everyday life. And as well as caring and acting, I also speak out. So quite often being an environmentalist means speaking truth to power.
Woohoo!
Online. And in very irritating ways. Because often it's me doing a few of these ones. That's a keyboard. I'm a keyboard warrior. Not the musical kind. I'm not like in an eco-punk rock band with the badass bassist and a recorder revolutionary or whatever they have in eco-punk rock bands. No, I'm a computer keyboard warrior. So online activism is actually my activism of choice. Now, there are other forms of activism. I think when you think of activism and activists, you often think of those people out on the streets, you know, writing signs, waving them around, chanting, cupping themselves to large machinery, getting arrested, going floppy as they get arrested and being dragged away. You know, that sort of thing. And I have to say, I respect them and their work. They do great things. Fun fact about the floppy thing is that that's actually one form of non-violent resistance, and you can go to info nights on it. See, organised. They're organised. They've got info nights. I just think I personally am too rigid to be that type of activist. I don't mean because I can't go floppy when I get arrested, although I don't know, I've never been arrested. Maybe. But online activism is more ad lib. Some people call it slacktivism, but I assure you it's actually a lot more hard work than it looks. Like, when I see something environmentally wrong online, I have to saddle up my high horse. I have to mount the darn thing while it's raring to go, and I have to gallop off into the grubby Netherlands of the Twitter sphere and do some hashtag damage. And that's not easy. But it is worth it. I think one of the things that I like to do when I get there, it looks a little bit like this. Whoa! As a 30-year-old woman, or another favourite of mine, just delete that, look, mate. Because, you know, when something starts with look, mate, there are two things that are true. Number one, the person on the receiving end is never going to look, let alone see where you're coming from. And number two, we're not mates. But because I'm a positive environmentalist, I actually am open to friendship with this person. There are, you know, some ways that we could end this back and forth and come away from it actually being mates. It's easy. All they'd have to do to be my mate at the end of this would be to take their kind of views and perspectives on the problem, their experiences, their sense of style while we're at it, and just chuck them in the bin. You know? That's all. Not that bin. Obviously not that bin. And I'm not asking them to do anything I haven't done. It's just that my personal views bin day happened a lot longer ago than theirs, when I was 20-ish, you know? Which is why I'm on Twitter and rarely on Facebook. Because I don't know if you know this, but Facebook is haunted. I'm not talking about, you know, the posts by Auntie Climate Change Denier from her astrology group, although those are chilling. I'm talking about something else where suddenly you hear bing, and there she is. It's 20-year-old me. I thought I got rid of her. But here she is. And what's this? She hasn't come alone. She's brought some of her two-dimensional takes on complex issues with her. Where has she come from? A portal from hell called Facebook Memories. And that's something that can be quite jarring. You know, you log on and it's like, bing, hey, remember when you thought that slut shaming was a form of feminism? Or bing, hey, remember when you thought that arguing with Auntie Climate Change Denier was gonna work out great? Or bing, hey, remember when you thought that correcting people's grammar and spelling was a witty form of comedy? Turns out, nah, you're insufferable. Or you're insufferable, I guess. Either way, she can't tell which way it was because I was speaking and she can tell what I mean. But the point is we learn and we grow. So that's why at the end of this, here I am. As a 30-year-old woman, my views are beyond reproach, I think, until 40-year-old me sees this and has something to say. But the takeaway I want anyone to really think about tonight, if you're into any form of activism or advocacy, you really have to pick and choose your battles. And that means you'll be able to hopefully have more energy for yourself, because sometimes no matter how wrong someone is and how right you aren't going to change their mind even with your best hashtaggery. So look after yourself, because that's a way of looking after the planet and having room for the things you care for too. Thank you. And
Please unmute yourself and give Lee a big round of applause. Awesome. Now.